Hello Doves, and we're continuing my skincare DIY series. Today we're going to be talking about disinfectant, or what is good for acne. There are a couple of different things that can really help with this, but the thing that I think is the most essential is witch hazel. Now this is my own extract. You might notice that the witch hazel in stores are typically clear, and this witch hazel is a very dark brown amber color. This is witch hazel bark, and this extracted is what has tons of antibacterial properties. Along with the properties that are in here, it is usually extracted in a pure alcohol. What I'm going to do is show you how to super easily make a tincture on your own. Now this is great with an alcohol-based tincture. You can put it in a clear glass jar like so, and set it out in the sunlight. And this is probably my favorite way to do this. It can be inside and just put it in a window. And the reason why it's my favorite is because when you make an extraction or a tincture out of a natural herb or plant, there are different ways to do it. Some people like to simmer, some like to boil. And the thing is at different temperatures, you're going to be extracting different types of helpful constituents that are in that herb or plant, whatever it is you're extracting. So a lot of people like to do a little bit of both. They'll simmer it for a bit and they'll let it sit cold in a jar for a while. I like to use the sun method because there isn't a problem with overcooking it. You can cook away those healthy constituents. So to me, this is the safest and also the easiest, quickest way to make a tincture. Because with the sunlight, you'll get it heated up a little. You'll get some of the constituents that come out with warmer temperatures into your lovely tincture. And then you'll get it when it's colder at night and get the lovely constituents that can only come out with cold extraction. So to me, this is the best, most well-rounded way to make a tincture and get as many healthy benefits as possible. So this is super, super easy. We're just gonna take this witch hazel bark. And the reason why I like to make my own instead of buying stuff in store is not only can I buy the herb in bulk, like from Mountain Rose Herbs, you can get it from different companies as well, but I like to make my own because I'm not a scientist, but when you eat different foods, you know, they tell you to eat the rainbow, right? Not the artificial one, but the real rainbow. You want vegetables and fruits from all of the different colors of the rainbow, right? If you want your greens, you want your blues, you want your reds and your oranges, and everything in between. This is because those colors actually correspond to different nutrients inside of the food. If you have a purple carrot, it's going to have different nutrients than an orange carrot. Typically, blues and purples have more antioxidants in them. Oranges might have more astaxanthin, such as like with a bright orange salmon. These are going to be different nutrients. So to me, when we have all of these things in stores that are extracts or things that are supposed to be really nutritious for us but are somehow clear, to me that just shows that they were highly processed to the point of becoming clear to make it easier to sell. But I'm concerned that that means that it's removed some of the nutrients and some of those constituents that are actually really healthy for us. This is why I recommended for years on this channel, when you get vitamin E oil, that it be an amber color, because that means it's not been highly processed to the point where it is clear. Naturally, vitamin E should be an amber color. And that's why I'm thinking that all those witch hazels that are clear in the store that you can buy in lots of different places are actually highly processed and don't have as many healthy benefits as this. Basically, to me, I don't know if it would be any different than, you know, just using alcohol, which is clear. At least vodka or ethyl alcohol, which are clear. So I like to make my own. I like to see that rich brown color and think about all the wonderful nutrients inside of it that are helping me with whatever issue I have. Now, the thing that I think is absolutely essential, witch hazel is essential for the bathroom, is because it is so good at combating acne And I just used it a couple weeks ago on a very large cystic acne that was forming on my forehead. I started using a roller, this roller actually filled with witch hazel. That is an easy way to keep it on hand for quick treatment. And I use that like a couple times a day when I wash my face, maybe an extra one thrown in there if I was feeling a little grimy or I just wanted to, a little extra treatment. And it was gone in a few days. And it never came to eruption. It kind of stopped it in its tracks and then helped it heal without having to come out all the way, which is really, really amazing for cystic acne. That stuff can really destroy your skin. And I just also didn't touch it. That's the rule, right? Don't touch your acne. But applying witch hazel can be really beneficial. Now everybody is different. It is possible an alcohol-based witch hazel is pretty strong as well. Could be too drying for your skin. So take all of this with a grain of salt and remember that with everything, it all comes down to what you and your body can handle and what it responds to. Another great reason though that witch hazel is great for the bathroom is as an antiseptic, as it was used hundreds of years ago, if not thousands of years ago. So one of the things I will be treating today is this pretty good cut on my hand here, and I need a little witch hazel on it. Now this is my extra bottle. This is just what I store the extra in, and then I keep it in the roller for easy use and travel. But you can also just take a gauze to the top of this, dip it, and apply to wherever needed. I would not recommend using witch hazel, especially in alcohol-based extraction, like over your entire face, say if you have acne breakouts. I would only recommend using it on the angriest of breakouts, like a specific cluster in an area or cystic acne. This is very powerful stuff, and you don't want it into the other areas of your skin that are pretty healthy or not as inflamed. It might dry it out and therefore increase your body's reaction to produce more sebum and cause more acne. So that's why it's good to treat very specific areas, because it is very strong and potent. But not for all over general use or as a toner. I would not recommend that. But excellent as a spot treatment. So super easy way. You're just gonna pour. It's best to do this with a funnel, but here I am. You're gonna pour that herb directly into the jar, and it looks like we have just enough to fill this one up, which is perfect. You don't want a lot of air space. You can certainly fill it up halfway and have an extraction that's not gonna be as strong. So I went to check on the tincture, and I do want to say I probably should have only filled this herb-wise, but I just had a tiny bit of witch hazel bark left, so I just poured the rest in there. You do want the liquid to be completely covering the herb. You can see as it absorbed the liquid, the herb has now expanded past the liquid. So we're just going to top it off with more vodka. And this is just day 2, and this is pretty common. You should check on it the day after all of the dried herb has absorbed the liquid and expanded. I probably could have done about 3/4 of the jar full, and then filled up the rest with alcohol to allow for expansion. So that's just as a side note for you guys. So we're just gonna top this off. And then we should be good. You really do want the herb to be completely submerged. So just as a note, probably best to fill it about 3/4 or maybe even 4/5. 3/4 is probably the safest to allow for different amounts of expansion. Bark is probably not going to expand as much as like flowers and leaves. So I think that's why I thought I could get away with it, having the jar a bit more full.
but just wanted to update you guys on that as well as what to do in the second day, just as a quick check-in. And now I can leave it here for a week, come back, flip it a couple times, and leave it for another few weeks doing that same weekly check-in.
At the top here, I usually like to let mine sit for a long time, and it's very, very potent and can be used for very spot treatment. This will also make this last a lot longer if it's extremely potent, and if you only use it for spot treatment, small wounds, things like that. Very specific. I've had this extract since, this says March of 2018. So definitely lasted me a few years, and I still have a bunch left. If you make it potent, you don't need very much. And since it's alcohol based, it'll last you a really long time. And we know me, I don't like to make things super frequently. I like to do it, be done with it for a long time and not have to worry about it. So we have our jar filled to the brim, almost the brim actually, just under. And because you want to make sure that the alcohol completely submerges all of the herb. So next we're going to take our vodka and just completely fill this. So you just want to make sure that it's completely submerged. And pretty full to the top so that there's not a lot of air in there. The more potential for air, the more potential for bacteria in the air to get in there and contaminate it. Now, it's vodka and it's witch hazel. This isn't as much of a problem, honestly, as with potential other tinctures that aren't naturally antibacterial or antiseptics. However, always a consideration to keep as much bacteria out of a preparation of any kind as possible. Literally all you're gonna do is close that sucker up. You can shake it around a little bit. You wanna make sure there's just a little bit of space left so that you can move it around and let the liquid swish around. And just give it a little bit of a shake. That's the one thing that you could do. If I leave this tincture in a window for several weeks, then I can go and I can shake this, move it around a little, give it some movement in there, just to make sure it's covering and getting through all of the little bits. I can shake it once a week, leave it there for several weeks, and I'll have a really strong tincture in the end. Now when you're done, all you have to do is strain it through a cheesecloth into another container. What I might even do is put this right into cheesecloth over a funnel over this bottle and just squeeze the cheesecloth, let it funnel right into there and refill my bottle. Again, because it's alcohol based, it's not gonna go bad. There's really no concern about mixing different batches. And that's it. And I'm just gonna go stick this in a window. So the next part of this though, something I would really recommend if you like to make your own concoctions is to get a tiny little funnel that can fit onto all of these little bottles. And literally all I'm doing right now is refilling this witch hazel roller. Try not to overflow it, but you might have a bit. That's okay. I actually got the cap, the roller part, stuck in there, but I think if I screw this on, it'll just screw that right into place. So hopefully this will work. Ah, magic. Okay, so here we have our little roller. And I'm just going to apply this directly to my hand here, where I have that scratch. You don't need that much, honestly, but just showing you. Now that can just help to disinfect that little scratch that I have, which actually looks pretty angry, and help it keep healing, free of bacteria. So here is your witch hazel roller and kind of portable acne and first aid kit treatment. So super important, I think one of the essentials that everyone should have in their bathroom for people that like to be all natural. And again, you could buy this stuff in the store and just put it in a roller like this for easy travel and apply this same thing without making your own tincture. But I explained to you already why I like to do that and why I think it's probably a more well-rounded set of constituents in here rather than the clear ones. But that is how you do it, guys. Super easy, super simple video for this weekend, and I hope you guys loved it and are enjoying this series of DIY skincare. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one, doves. The most natural way to do this would be with organic vodka, which is a personal favorite of mine. It sounds like I'm a drunkard. Oh yes, and I wonder where that rumor started from. So to me, this is the best, most